If you've ever stared at your feline friend's face, you've noticed the 4 rows of sharp, long, hair-like protrusions along their snout. Maybe you've also spotted these modified hairs on their eyebrows or under the chin, or even behind their wrists as they reach up to grab their toys. These are whiskers, also known as vibrissae. Whiskers aren't exclusive to cats, however. They've evolved over generations in other mammals like dogs, cows, bears, and even non-mammals have analogous counterparts. You've probably heard that you should never cut a cat's whiskers, but why exactly are these whiskers so important to cats and other species, and how do whiskers work? Whiskers are a keratin product made from the same protein as your own hair and nails. They are rooted in the 3rd layer of the skin called the hypodermis, much deeper than normal hairs. They are also thicker and more rigid than other hairs, and their follicles are surrounded by a system of blood vessels, muscle fibers, and nervous tissue. The muscles around whisker follicles allow whiskers to move and adjust for sensory and communication purposes, so Mr. Snugglebumpkin can tell us how he feels. The blood sinuses and vessels surrounding the whisker follicle help provide nutrients, ions, oxygen, and various other compounds necessary for the follicle, surrounding muscles, and nervous tissue. Whisker follicles are highly sensitive due to a rich concentration of nerve endings, specifically sensory nerves with mechanoreceptors. Mechanoreceptors are activated by mechanical bending of the whisker due to air vibrations, muscle contractions, and physical contact. One mechanoreceptor present in the whiskers is Merkel discs. Mechanical force disrupts the membrane of these cells, causing mechanogated channels like piezo2 to open. The cations calcium and sodium flow into these cells, causing them to depolarize and release neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine, and glutamate. These neurotransmitters unlock ligand-gated channels on a postsynaptic afferent nerve, causing it to depolarize and send signals to the trigeminal nerve and the brain. Within the brain, these signals will travel through the brainstem and the thalamus to various cortical areas of the brain like the motor cortex and somatosensory cortex, and potentially will activate feedback loops like for whisker movement. Overall, this allows for proprioception, navigation through obstacles, and an awareness of the environment.
Let's talk about the specific sensors that we see. Kittens are actually born with their eyes closed and don't open them for the first few weeks of their life. As adults, their vision alone isn't enough to support those famous cat-like reflexes. Sensation from their whiskers fills in the gaps by detecting tiny environmental changes. Specialized mechanoreceptors at the follicle base receive the information and relay it to the brain through the trigeminal nerve. When a cat presses its whiskers gently against a surface, Merkel's discs continuously fire, detecting light, steady pressure. If a quick breeze moves a whisker, lanceolate endings fire rapidly as they detect light touch and low-frequency vibration. High-frequency vibrations are detected by Pacinian-like corpuscles, such as the buzzing of a nearby insect. Ruffini-like endings activate when a cat pushes its whisker forward while stalking prey. But what about proprioception? The main proprioceptors are muscle spindle-like receptors located in the whisker muscles. They detect stretching and contracting of the muscle and tell the CNS the exact position of each whisker, giving the cat awareness of its head tilt and how quickly it's moving through space. One last important receptor, nociceptors, which detect pain if a whisker is abruptly pulled. But cats also use their whiskers to communicate with the outside world.
When a cat is engaged, curious, or hunting, whether inside or outside, its whiskers move forward, the lips stay loose, and the mouth stays closed, and the muzzle puffs out slightly. This is your cat saying, "I'm focused. Something's caught my attention." In a relaxed or happy state, whiskers and ears rest neutrally, drifting gently to the sides. When a cat feels fearful, anxious, or stressed, the whiskers will pull back. As these emotions intensify, you'll also notice the ears rotate to the side and draw back. Ears and whiskers often speak together. In offensive aggression, cats will send their whiskers forward. In defensive aggression, they will send their whiskers back. Aggression can look different depending on whether a cat is defending itself or approaching a threat, but overall, its posture is tense and assertive. When cats are in pain, their whiskers may look neutral or even slightly withdrawn. This is because cats hide their pain. When in pain, their faces become stoic as they try to conceal their discomfort. The top 2 rows of whiskers can move independently from the bottom 2 rows. This helps the cat communicate complex moods with small, precise movements.
Finally, let's talk about how these structures compare to other animals and how they've impacted human innovation.
Humans don't have whiskers, but we do have skin mechanoreceptor in our fingertip and face, and they play a similar role in detecting touch and movement. A lot of animals actually use whiskers-like structures. Birds have facial bristles. Fish like cod have barbels to sense water currents. So the idea of extra sensors around the face is pretty common in nature. But the way cats and dogs use their whiskers is different. Cats use whiskers to judge distance and navigate tight spaces, but they can move them forward or backward, but they don't do the rapid whisker sweeping that rats use. Rats scan texture and shape 5 to 15 times per second. Dogs use their whisker during exploration too, but they're not high-frequency whiskers, more like spatial feelers that help them sense objects before they touch them, and trimming them can actually confuse them. And whiskers aren't just biological curiosity, they're now design inspirations. Researchers recently built wearable pressure sensor model on cat whiskers. They use ultra-light biomass fiber aerogel that mimic the whisker and follicle structure, letting the device detect tiny pressure changes with extremely high sensitivity and a fast response time of the 25 milliseconds. This sensor can monitor pulse, read handwriting or Morse code, and even analyze athletic movements. So overall, humans rely on touch, vision, and hearing, but cats and dogs get an extra layer of spatial awareness thanks to their super sensitive whiskers. And now, those same whiskers mechanics are helping us build smarter, wearable tech.